What is up, everybody? It's Connor from Unscripted, back again with another video. In today's video, as you see by the title, we will be ranking all 12 CDL teams by tier heading into tomorrow night's kickoff night of the first major, and as always, we'll be doing it off the script. So before we get into the video, don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy the content. Leave a comment down in the comment section below as well, letting me know what I got wrong, because I'm sure there will be a lot that I got wrong in your opinion, and that's okay. Just let me know about it. I'd love to hear. And subscribe to the channel as well if you are new and if you are looking for more CDL content in your subscriber box, because you will get plenty of it from me. So without further ado, let's hop right into the rankings. So the way I'm going to do this for this video is this is not going to be based just on what we've seen so far. Basically that would just be ordering teams by record. I don't want to do that. This is kind of how I feel about these teams and their performance in the major. So even if a team has a worse record than a team that's above them in the rankings, but I think they're still a better team and have the more potential to do more damage at the major, I'm going to have them ahead. That's just the way this is going to be. It's not just a record list. It's just how I feel about these teams and what I expect from them. So we're going to go right in order the way they're listed there, and let's get started. Atlanta FaZe, I don't think there's much conversation to be had here. They are the best search and destroy team in the CDL. I don't think that's even up for debate anymore. After we've seen some of these games play out, they are also a very good respawn team, one of the top probably 3 or 4 teams when it comes to the hard point. So right there, if you're the best at one game mode which features 2 maps, and you're top 3 or 4 another game mode that features 2 maps of the series, you're in pretty good shape. And yeah, the Atlanta FaZe, not many weaknesses for them, just so much individual talent, and they play together so well as a team with their team chemistry. They're all on the same page, and I just don't see how you couldn't have them in the S tier. They've got to be number 1 in the power rankings in my opinion, so of course we will have them in the S tier. Also, this will be in order as well. So if I have another team in S tier beside Atlanta, that would be like number 2. So I'll show you as we get into it more. But anyway, next up we have the Seattle Surge. I think I'm going to throw them in C, and they might end up being by themselves in the C tier. It might be an interesting little thing that happens here, but we'll see how it works out. But this is a team that has the potential to be a good respawn team, and they've shown that a few times. Their hard points, they have done okay in hard points compared to the rest of their performance. They are not a great search team. They are a team with a decent pair of ARs and a pretty bad SMG duo, probably the worst SMG duo in the league. It's just they're just very inconsistent. They'll have this guy who will maybe, let's say, Gunless step up and perform very well in this series or in this map, and then the next map is Search and Looney steps up, but nobody else does. It's just they can't ever seem to get going at the same time. If that would happen, they could be a better team than they're currently showing, but as of now, I think we have to have them in the C tier until they prove to us they can step up and beat some of these top teams. Next up, this one might be a little controversial, the Dallas Empire. I am going to throw them in the A tier, not the S tier. The defending champions who are, 4-1, they went in stage 1. Stage 1. Defending champs, like I said, they won their group, but I'm going to have them in the A tier just because they haven't looked like they're an S tier team. How else can you say it? The same thing with them with Seattle. Obviously, they're much better than Seattle, but the consistency. They're supposed to be a really good respawn team, which they are, and then they come out and they lose 2 hard points to the London Royal Ravens in one series. I don't know. It's just if they're at their best, basically what I'm saying is they're an S tier team for sure. But just what we've seen from them, what I expect from them, I don't think they're quite good enough as a search team, which is okay to not be the best search team, but then you have to be consistent in your respawns, like we'll see with the team later on. But they have not been consistent enough with their respawns. Illy has been very inconsistent. Even Shotzi has had some inconsistencies as well. Hook is the best player in the game in my opinion, but until they put it together as a team and they gel a little bit better, maybe they'll come out and win this major. Obviously, they'll be an S tier team then, but for now, I'm going to have them as the best team in the A tier. Moving on to LAG, they got the winners bracket in their group at 2-3 record, but I don't think they're the 3rd best team in their group. I actually, honestly, still think they might be the worst team in their group, but we'll get to that soon. I'll throw them in C with Seattle. They maybe could be in B, but I don't know. We'll come back to it. Very good search team, we know that. Inconsistent in the respawns. They have had a little more success than I've expected them to have when it comes to hardpoint, honestly. Silly playing pretty well. Vivid having some good games. Apathy, they're all playing okay, and they're stepping up when needed. So the talent's there. The teamwork is there for sure. I could see them being in the B tier, but I don't think they're consistent enough in respawns at all. So I'm going to keep them at the top end of the C tier for now. This might get interesting. This next team, Florida Mutineers, I'm going to put in B. So this is probably a bit of a surprise. They're in the same group as LAG, who finished ahead of them. Why are they in B? And the reason that for this is with Florida, it's weird because I think they have a pretty high ceiling. They can, if they're at their best, they can be a very good team. But I also think they have a pretty low floor. If they're not at their best, they can get beaten by these teams who are like an LAG, which they're a steady team, just not very good. You kind of know what you're going to get from them, and it's just not quite enough to beat the top tier teams. Whereas Florida, they can beat the top tier teams, but they also can lose to the bottom tier teams. They're kind of like right in that middle area. So this B tier for me is sort of like an average of their ceiling is an A tier team, their floor is a C tier team, so I have them at B. And if they show up and play well, I think they can make a surprise run in the losers bracket. But for now, we'll keep them at B. London, I can already tell you, this will be the only team that comes in at the D tier. I don't know. They went 0-5, whatever it was, 0-6, I guess 5. Haven't had much success. They beat Dallas twice in hard point, but Shawnee's playing well, actually. Definitely been their best player on their team. Dylan and Alex not playing well at all as a duo, at least not consistently enough. Parasite was doing okay compared to his teammates, but by no means is even anything special. They don't have much going for them right now. I don't know if it's the talent or if it's the teamwork or whatever else, but they're a D-tier team. I mean, until they prove otherwise, until they win some games, you can't be 0-5 and be anywhere but the bottom tier. So I have London in the D tier. Minnesota, I will throw in the B tier, definitely ahead of Florida for sure, but definitely I think in the same tier as Florida. Minnesota, a pretty good search team. We know that. They beat Dallas because of their search performance, but they also got smoked pretty bad by New York in search. So overall, though, I still think they're probably a top 2 or 3 team in search in the CDL. Their hard points for sure need some improvement and need some work, and I think they'll get better at that as the season goes on. They have good individual players. Priesta and Attach is a very good SMG duo. Major Maniac is he's their best search player in my opinion. He's a decent flex, and accuracy, of course, playing the main AR role. He's been playing pretty well so far. Statistically, he might actually be their best player. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's good individual talent with them, and they definitely have the search and destroy chemistry down. If they can get going in the respawns, they can definitely give some of these top teams some problems, and they will start in the losers bracket despite going 3-2 because their group was a little bit better than the other group in this round. But yeah, Minnesota Rocker, I'll have it B. New York, I'll throw in the A tier. They're probably going to be towards the end of the A tier, but I will keep them there. We saw from them their potential for sure. I mean, they came out on fire a couple of different times. They 3-0'd. Was it Minnesota? They just came out and blew out of the water. Dallas, they choked. They badly choked that. They came out on fire and went up 2-0 before choking a control bad, and then ultimately falling in the series 3-2. But they looked solid. There's no doubt about that. They lost. Their losses were to Dallas and to the LA Thieves, 2 other very good teams. But yeah, they played solid. 6-0ing Minnesota in a search is automatically very impressive. They surprised me for sure. I did not think they'd be quite this good. I mean, that's no secret. Clayster playing like one of the top 8 or 10 players in the league right now this year. Asim has been arguably a top 5 player. They are definitely getting production from multiple angles. They've been pretty consistent for the most part. They just have to tighten some things up, here and there. A couple of bad breaks for them or a couple of missed plays that resulted in them losing some maps they maybe could have won. But regardless, it's a good team, and we saw that when they're playing at their best, they can probably beat any team in the CDL. Now they just have to do it consistently. And, maybe they will. Who knows? It's early in the season, so we'll see. But for now, I will stick them towards the bottom end of the A tier. Toronto, I'm going to throw it in B. The question is ahead or behind Florida. I'll throw them ahead of Florida for consistency. So the thing with Toronto compared to Florida, how I was talking about floor versus ceiling, I think Toronto's ceiling is not quite as high as Florida's. I think that they can still be a very good team. But however, their floor is not near as low. They have a little bit more consistency than Florida. They went 1-4, and I don't know. One of them is the lowest seed in their group. I forget which one it is, but they're the bottom 2. They both went 1-4, but I just don't think that shows their talent. I think if they played to their talent level, both of those teams. But right now we're talking about Toronto, can perform better than their record showed in Stage 1. I think Toronto can be and maybe even is still a very good search team, despite their record being 1-4. They're a good search team. They definitely have the potential to be good in respawns and hard points. It's consistency with them too. Like I was saying with Seattle, it seems like with them, one map it'll be Bants, let's say, like in search, Bants will go off or methods will go off. And then in the respawns, it'll be Cammy or Kleenex going off. But it only ever seems to be one guy that has a good game at a time. They can't ever have 2 or 3 guys getting on the same page and getting on fire at the same time. If they can do that, if they have, say, Cammy, Kleenex, and either Bants or Methods, any of them just all turning up at the same time, it's a scary team because Cammy has been fringe top 5 players so far. Kleenex, when he's on, is very good. Bance can turn it up. Methods has, his 1v4 clutch and search. He's played well in search, so they all are more than capable. And if they get going as a team, like I said, they can give some of these top teams a scare for sure, but I can't have them any higher than the middle of the B tier just because they are 1-4, so I have to consider that a little bit. But talent-wise, they're up there. Just the results haven't been there yet for them. Moving along with the LA Thieves, I will put them in the A tier above New York and behind Dallas. The LA Thieves are a very good respawn team. Their slaying has been phenomenal. Slasher playing pretty well, at times. TJ Haley's probably been their best player so far. Temp has been struggling a little bit, and Kenny, he's been phenomenal. What else can you say about him? So, as a team, the individual talent is there. They do need to be a little bit better in search, like I said. It's very similar, in my opinion, to Dallas. I know Dallas beat them pretty bad, but just very good at respawns, a little bit weaker at search, but overall a very good team. Definitely an A-tier team, and a team that can get going and argue. They could win the whole thing. If they get hot and TJ keeps playing well and Slasher and Kenny are playing well in the ARs, there's no doubt in my mind they can win a major. So I have them in the A tier. Paris, I will put in the B tier. Nope, behind Minnesota, though. Despite not getting a winner's bracket, I think they're better than LAG. I know they lost to LAG, but Paris sort of got better as the week went on. They're a good team, man. Classic and Aqua are playing phenomenally right now. Scraps might even be their best player, despite those two guys playing well. Fire, he is struggling for sure, and if he gets going, they can take that next step. But for now, I think this would put them at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7th team. I think that's pretty accurate for them. They can move up, they can move down, but right now they're playing pretty solid. Like I said, Scraps has been on his game. Classic and Aqua making the plays in search. Just all around good play from them. They definitely have their team chemistry down, and they definitely have the individual talent as well that's turning some heads. So they are a team to watch. There's no doubt in my mind. They took Atlanta FaZe to 5 before ultimately falling. So that's a good team right there for sure, and I'm interested to watch them, and that's a team I'm keeping a close eye on, no doubt about that. And finally, we have Optic Chicago. So I'm going to throw them an S. I am. I think they've lost a few hard points, but I still think they're the best hard point team in the game. Individually, they are phenomenal slayers who can all make plays when needed. In search, they have been getting better. They started pretty weak against Atlanta FaZe, but they've been improving. They have Envoy and Dashy, who are great search players. Dashy's been a top 4 player in the league, maybe even top 3. He's been playing out of his mind. Formal and Scump and Envoy, they've been good at times and then just sort of average at times, but overall, I mean, it's just phenomenal players like we know. This is a team that when they get hot, I don't think anybody beats them. They probably should have beaten FaZe 3-1 in their series with Atlanta, but they fell. And if they would have ended up not choking that hard point, they'd be talked about as by far the best team. So one hard point choke away from being considered the best team, I think still deserves to be S tier. If they can get going in their search a little bit more and they can stay consistent in their hard points, I still don't think they've lost to control yet. So just overall phenomenal respawn team and a search team who is good and I think still getting better. So we have not seen the best of them yet in search, and we will in the future. So that's going to wrap up the video. This is how I think the tiers are right now heading into the first major. I'm excited to watch it. I hope you are too. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like on it. Let me know down in the comment section below where I was wrong and where I was right. And subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the content. I greatly appreciate it, and it really helps me grow the channel. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the action tomorrow and the rest of the week. I hope you have a good day, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.